and welcome back to another episode of The Book Stop. I'm your host Jen, and I'm very excited to talk about today's episode. But before we begin, there will be spoilers as we talk about major events that unfold within the story. In addition, each episode will have a list of trigger warnings in the description. Be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at The Book Stop Podcast, and show your support on Patreon for early access to episodes and other additional content. And we're back with another episode of The Book Stop. And today, the beginning of beautiful Pride Month. And today, who's with us today?
It's me, Tim.
It's Tim! Yay!
Seems correct.
He's here, he's back again. We did Red, White, and Royal Blue.
We sure did, and they're making it into a movie now.
They're making it into a movie! It's because of us.
They were just waiting for us to do the podcast.
They really were, and I hope that this becomes a movie, because it would be iconic.
Better.
What are we talking about? What book did you bring, and why did you bring it?
So, we are talking about So This Is Ever After, and I'm not gonna lie, I picked it because the cover is literally two men very much in love, and it's medieval, fantasy themed, which is very on brand for me. Yeah, this cover is very pretty. It's got a fantasy vibe with these, colors that correspond really well with each other, and the artwork is just great. The back artwork is great. The front artwork is great. Yeah, so to get started, we're going to play a little game. Okay.
So you are going to summarize this book in 30 seconds. Try your best, and you may begin whenever you're ready.
Arik kills the big bad guy, claims the throne, realizes that he can't leave the throne, and he has to pretty much find someone to be his other half for the rest of his life, or he'll fade away on his 18th birthday, and he pretty much tries to woo every single one of his friends during the entire book. That's it.
Yeah, that's honestly it. Yeah, I'm going to summarize it really quick for anybody who hasn't heard of this book. Arik hadn't thought much about what would happen after he completed the prophecy that said that he was destined to save the kingdom of Ari. So now that he's finally managed to behead the evil king, he and his ragtag team of quest companions are at a bit of a loss of what to do next. As a temporary safeguard, Arik's best friend and mage, Matt, convinces him to assume the throne until the true heir can be rescued from her tower. Except that she's dead. Now Arik is stuck as king, a role that comes with a magical catch. Choose a spouse by your 18th birthday or wither away into nothing. With his birthday only 3 months away, Arik embarks in a desperate search to find his spouse to save his life, starting with his quest companions. But his attempt at wooing his friends goes painfully and hilariously wrong, until he discovers that love might have been right in front of him the entire time. Which in this book is your favorite quote?
So my favorite quote came in pretty much the beginning of the book. It was said by Matt. Mm-hmm. It was, well, looks like your princess isn't in another castle. She's dead. I knew that was probably going to be my favorite quote from...
Just the delivery of that line.
Yeah, because they were looking for the other heir and, she's dead.
Yeah.
Love the Mario reference.
I don't get the Mario reference.
Okay, so. Well, it's a reference.
This book is really well done with the humor. I think it delivers it pretty well. Yeah. Where it's, genuinely funny. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I read a book that was actually funny. So, my favorite quote, logically, I knew I needed to continue with the wooing plan, but my heart said otherwise. Seeing Matt injured brought more clarity to the fact that it would always be him. No matter what happened, he would be the person I wanted the most. Oh.
I know.
Happy Pride.
And yet he still didn't say anything. So.
I know! The pining and the lack of communication. It's just great. Yeah, I really like that line because it kind of solidified for the readers as well that it's not just a fling or a crush between him and Matt. He genuinely loved him. So cute.
We love.
What would you say is some things that you really liked about this book?
I loved the characters and how, the author made the characters.
Yeah.
I think each of them have something different to bring to the story instead of all being, similar.
They're not very stagnant. They definitely move around within the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed that. I love the D&D vibes that this book had. It didn't feel necessarily like the Dungeons and Dragons movies that just came out, where it was characters within the campaign. It felt like actual campaign style, with people playing as D&D characters, because the way that they talk was very modern, but they were in a fantasy setting. It felt literally when we sit down at a table and we start playing D&D.
Yeah, actual people playing their characters instead of the D&D people themselves doing what they think
exactly
people actually do.
It feels very authentic. F.T. Luken, by the way. We didn't even say who this is by.
Oh my gosh.
So sorry, F.T. F.T. Lukens, he authentically like went in and went with a vibe that felt, it didn't feel forced, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It didn't feel forced. Like, he didn't make it seem like, oh, I want this to have a modern twist but also be a fantasy. It was very delicately placed, I think, the way that he did it. Do you have any other likes?
I don't know. I just like the relationship that each of the characters had with each other.
Yeah.
You can tell that they literally spent every waking day together.
Yeah, because they were together for 9
months.
Before the events of this book happens, which is something I want to talk about in my dislikes, which we'll get to in a second.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a negative, like, super bad thing, but it's something I want to talk about. I like that this book didn't take itself too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, towards the end, when he started to worry about being faded away, you start to understand the situation that they were in. But it was a very chill, laid-back book. It's not super serious.
Yeah.
Like, for a fantasy book, obviously a YA book, it was just very chill. It was a good, relaxing read. Again, genuinely funny. There was some lines I actively laughing out loud at. Because I was like, the delivery of it's just so good. There's those cheesy lines in there where you're like, okay.
Yeah, but Lila, genuinely funny.
Yeah, Lila.
Almost everything she does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Arik is pretty funny, too. I think Matt's pretty funny.
Bethany is funny, but, like, in a different way. Love her.
I did like all the characters. It felt, again, like a D&D group.
It did.
Yeah. And I honestly did not expect the plot. I went in blind. I just opened the book and started reading.
Yeah.
And I did not expect that plot. There was some calls where I was like, oh, he's gonna do this, obviously. And then he did it. And then went a completely opposite way. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't expect the entire book to just be him trying to, like, marry one of his friends. Because I went in blind, too. I thought it was going to be like, okay, I saved the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to go on another adventure.
Yeah, I was on the understanding that he was gonna, like, save the kingdom and then had to marry somebody from a different kingdom to get, like, an alliance. Was the vibe I was getting. Because I didn't realize that was Matt on the cover. I thought it was a different, the huge staff. I'm just an idiot.
That didn't give anything away.
Just an idiot, okay? But yeah, I was like, oh, okay, so he's gonna, like, has to marry someone from a different country or, like, a different kingdom, and then Matt gets jealous. No, he went for his friends. So what are some things that you didn't like about this book?
I don't like that there wasn't much to the world outside of the castle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where the princess's tower was in proximity to the castle. I feel like it close to the castle, but not that far off.
Yeah, because
they made it there in a day.
Yeah.
I feel like it was probably just on the castle grounds, and, like, the only thing that we saw them do outside of the castle was to meet the people.
Mm-hmm. The townspeople.
And that didn't go well.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Well, to be fair, Arik couldn't leave the grounds.
That's true.
But before, I feel like they could have at least mentioned some other places. What was the kingdom place called? I want to say chicken noodle soup, but it's not that.
Chickpea.
Chickpea, yeah, chickpea. That's it. Yeah, chickpea. I thought that was funny.
Which is another right off the dome, like, DM kind of name.
Yeah. It absolutely is. Did you have any other dislikes?
Not really. I mean, I'm a simple guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I didn't really care for in the book. Even though, like, it's fair, Arik couldn't leave the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we heard about outside of it was the people that actually showed up. I feel like we only heard the name of kingdoms named after, like, the Four Seasons.
If that was
I can't remember what the names were, though.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head either. At least he gave a reason why he didn't do a ton of world building.
That's true.
With him being stuck there. But I absolutely, like, I agree. I think even a general, like, small little map would have been a good detail to put in. I think, like, what would have been cool is, like, a little treasure map where it showed where they started and had, like, mini adventures in the map. Killed a guy here. Oh, found this here. Because they mentioned multiple places where they collected things along the way in their previous journey.
Yeah.
So if they would have put that in there, I think that would have helped.
And I was about to say, like, along with that, I would have liked maybe flashbacks to, like, their adventure beside. They mention stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Elaborate on it. This pixie almost killed your best friend for his magic.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Absolutely. I think this book definitely could have been longer. Like, my edition of the book, the words are so big. The words didn't have to be so big, and the pages could have been longer, so.
No, I feel that too. But also, I like simpler words, because I'm...
Yeah.
You know, I'm at a 5th grade reading level.
No, you're not. You finished this book, and
that's true.
I wouldn't see a 5th grade reading this. So one of my biggest dislikes of this book is. This book felt like a second book in the series. It felt like the conclusion, like maybe the first book was a cliffhanger and then this one picked up. Because you start literally in the action of him killing the guy.
Yeah.
And like, obviously that's fine if that's how you want to start the book. But I think a first book to introduce the characters, find out who these people are. Again, what you said, learn about the journey of flashbacks and stuff, but I would love a prequel if you wanted to write that.
Literally, I was just about to say, would love a prequel.
Yeah, I think he absolutely could get a prequel, because all these characters are so fun. They're just fun to hang out with, to learn about. I want to learn about how, is it Sonia?
In the audiobook, her name's Shauna.
Oh, Shauna. It's definitely not spelled that way.
No, it's not spelled that way, but yeah. Shauna, and then, what was the knight's name? Ryan.
Ryan, which is also not spelled that way.
It's not spelled that way either, no.
The spelling is very weird in this. So Shauna and Ryan, I would have loved to see how they met her and how they met Ryan and how they met Bethany. Like, I know it went into it a little bit.
Yeah, they kind of explained it a little bit. Like, especially with Shauna. Shauna's the only one that we really got to see how they met. I don't think we even heard at all how they met Ryan.
Well, Ryan said that he owed a debt to Arik.
Oh, real. And then he made one of those paladin oaths.
Yeah, so he was kind of like a paladin for them. So some things about this specifically in the book. There wasn't a lot. Again, it was a very chill book, very relaxed. It was kind of like a low stake, just here to learn. The amount of passing out. Okay. Oh my god, there was so many of them.
I love that he just referred to anyone passing out as swooning if it was into anyone's arms.
Yeah.
Like, no, babe, you lost consciousness.
Your hit points went to 0.
Yeah.
Okay. It felt like every chapter, and I passed out, or he passed out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you need to hydrate yourself before you dehydrate yourself at this point.
Honestly.
I don't know. I did think the romance was a little weak. Again, he's trying to romance his friend to find his soulmate so he doesn't get faded away.
Yeah.
And obviously that's really awkward to do when he doesn't really have feelings for them. So he's a bisexual. So he likes...
Yeah, Shauna.
I keep wanting to call her, like, how it's spelled in the book.
Siona or whatever.
Siona, yeah. Shauna really likes her, and he obviously really likes Matt. Just the romance itself, the way that it's set up, it wasn't delivered in the way I expected it to be. Expected it to be a little bit more romance heavy because it was him looking for a soulmate. And then at the end, we really don't get a lot of payoff for the pining between them.
See, I kind of disagree.
Oh, that's okay.
However, the entire time throughout the book, I'm like, all right, and now Matt's gonna say something, or now Arik's gonna say something. And then they finally did the bonding ceremony. I'm happy for literally the rest of the book.
Yeah, when they finally got together, I think it was just the build-up for the other people where it fell off. There's something that we'll talk about in Missed Opportunities of what I would have done a little bit differently, so you'll have to wait for that. But my last thing is I felt so bad for...
Oh, yeah.
What's his name?
Oh, no, hold on.
It's Gren.
Gren.
I keep
yes, for Gren. That entire scene, I'm like so happy because they're like... saying how much they love each other, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, but this is very awkward because Gren's just standing there.
Yeah.
But that's okay because Bethany picked him up.
Yeah,
literally right after.
Gren is just like, yeah, I'll marry you. I'll spend the rest of my life with you. I don't know who you are. Obviously, we don't know Gren's character. He could have been a...
They only referred to Gren as they.
They did?
Just very big and strong.
Really? I never noticed that.
I caught on to that, especially when I think Ryan started saying something about them. A big and strong individual. I think her name was Petal. Like, referred to Petal with she pronouns. And then they said a very strong individual, Gren. Is Gren, like, this non-binary royalty?
Yeah, I did not notice, because Gren's not in it a ton.
Just in the, like, very last chapters.
Where they were dancing with Arik in the masquerade. And then, again, at the very end, when they come in, and it's like, I'll marry you. Interesting, I did not see that.
Yeah, Gren's painted as, like, this assigned male at birth character, but only referred to as they, which I loved.
Yeah. I
love that everyone in that book is queer in some way.
Yeah.
Literally every single character, even the townspeople.
Oh my god, yeah. I saw he said, but he was like, you saved my partner. I was like, oh, like a business? And he's like, no,
Stop it.
My husband. And I was like, ah! Happy Pride. Okay. yeah, I felt really bad for them because they got screwed over. But
yeah, but I don't think
found
they were that
happiness.
invested in the relationship anyway.
Yeah.
They were just kind of like, oh yeah, I'll be literally the second highest monarch in this kingdom.
For one of the richest kingdoms, which is okay, so here's one of the things I want to talk about. So this kingdom,
if not the richest
kingdom around. How did no one come in here and just snipe this place out and steal everything from someone called the Kind? Easy target right there.
I feel like they were still a little scared from
the evil one.
He has a silly name too, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
what
they
his
kept
silly
making
name
fun
is.
of it.
I think that's how they got all the money, is because he just stole it from everyone.
That's true. I was just thinking it was so funny because they're like, oh my god, Lila, the rogue of the group.
Of course, got put in charge of the money.
Of course, yeah. She was like, oh, even if we run out of money, we got plenty of things around here to sell. How are they still standing? How is no one coming in here and taking everything from them? One thing I really liked about the book that I did not expect, but I think added a bit of realism to it, was the castle maintenance. Talking about delegating the tasks and maintaining the castle itself, getting things done, paying people, like all those little things that you don't really think about when you read a fantasy book. But I think it was really cool to put that in with all of these teenagers. I think the oldest was Ryan.
Ryan was the oldest, but just by like a little bit.
A little bit. They were all
They're all
under
the same
20.
age, yeah.
Yeah. So it was cool having those little moments where Arik kind of stood out with his mentality of being like, well, I'm the king now, so I gotta make sure I delegate all these tasks and not take them upon himself only. I think it was a cool little add into it.
Yeah, paying everyone more too. Which I never really thought about, like, the people of the castle get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, makes sense when you say it out loud, but in your head you don't think about it.
And he was like, oh, pay him double. And they're like, why? Arik, well, I don't want them to leave.
Yeah.
And then what was the Harlow?
He stayed because he's like, you want me to find a job anywhere else in this economy?
Yeah, that was one of the lines that got me. He's like, you want me to get a good paying job in this economy? Another thing I want to talk about is his writing style. So I've read a few of his books already before I read this one. He definitely follows the same format in a lot of his books. The same writing style, obviously his signature writing style. And I wouldn't say that it's bad in any way. I enjoy a lot of the stuff that he says. I think it definitely doesn't go as in depth as it could if he tapped into his characters a little bit more. And I think that he puts his characters on a too reachable pedestal. I think he could up it a little bit more and make them a little bit more in depth.
Yeah.
Because I think the character development in the story definitely falls a little flat. I like them together, but alone, I feel like they don't stick out as much.
Yeah, definitely no. They're like the same people at the beginning of the book as they are in the end, but like with nicer clothes.
Yeah. I think Lila changes a little bit with her not as steely.
As stabby.
And as stabby, yeah. And Ryan is a little bit more outspoken than he was. They definitely change, but I think that it could have been developed out a little bit more. Again, not a lot of time has passed, so it's hard to put those standards on them.
It could have been developed on paper more instead of off screen.
It's a little bit harder when you have so many characters that you have to focus on, but the character development within even Arik could have been a little bit more developed out, just so he had some flaws that needed to be fixed. And I feel like his flaws were noticeable.
Yeah.
But I think we could have focused on him just a little bit more.
Especially the one main flaw, bad at communication.
Why are Matt and Arik such idiots? They're so dumb.
These things just happen. One was too afraid that the other was going to leave him. Yeah. Wait, no, they both were afraid of that.
Arik was afraid that Matt would be stuck with him for the rest of his life. Oh, yeah,
and Matt was afraid that once he said how he felt, Arik would be like, okay.
Okay.
Bye, queer.
Yeah, I see miscommunication is like one of my least favorite tropes.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that they necessarily were miscommunicating. I think they just weren't communicating.
Exactly. It's not miscommunication if there's no communication.
Exactly, yeah. I think they could have talked just a little bit more.
When one of them said, I'll be your best friend forever, the other one got quiet and they're like, yeah, best friend. No one got that?
No one picked up on that?
Besides Shauna?
Dude, they're so oblivious to each other. Pretty much at the end of the book, they are all like, obviously Matt loves you. He's in love with you. How can you guys be so oblivious to each other when it's sitting right in front of your face? And like how jealous he got whenever he started talking about the wooing plan.
Right?
And he was like, oh, fine, I'll help you, I guess. And he's like, bruh.
Why are you getting mad? I don't know what you mean.
And then the way that they just like slept in each other's bed all the time, the pining and the looking after him, and like, oh my god, they're so dumb.
I know.
Who would you say is your favorite character in this book?
Hands down, Lila. Love her so much. I love me a chaotic little gremlin person.
Gremlin person.
And I love that she's like part fae too. That just made it so much better for me, which they don't talk about that much. Which, I mean, that's fine. But also, build on that. I want to know more.
Exactly. Like, build on these things. Why is it so bad that they kind of, not shun, they just are quiet about being fae? Why? Share that with us. And that goes into world building. Yeah, no, I really liked her as well. She was my favorite character. She's a little rogue. I love playing a rogue.
Love playing a rogue. If I could, like, have all of the same spells that a sorcerer could have.
You'd be a rogue trickster then. And then take the magic from a sorcerer and become a sorcerer.
Beautiful.
Multi-class as a sorcerer then, okay?
Oh my gosh.
And then, oh my god, when she was like half out the window.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That first night that they spent in there.
And then when she gets Crow, oh my gosh, I love Crow. This massive bird that's just like perfect for a rogue, honestly.
Yeah, and she's just like, he's just a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
And then he doesn't listen to her when he tries to steal Matt's staff.
Mm-hmm.
The entire time she's still like, oh, he's just a little guy.
Just a little guy.
Just let go. He'll bring it back.
Doesn't bring it back. Not for a while, at least. She felt to me like the one that had the most character. It was the writer's favorite character.
Probably, honestly.
Yeah. Can we talk about how D&D in general, but also this book, relies so much on just blaming everything on magic?
Which is so typical.
Yeah, it's typical for D&D.
Which I hate as a magic user myself.
Yeah.
Don't blame magic. I didn't do this shit.
Yeah. They blamed everything on magic. Blamed it on the law that was given, was like, you can't mess with magic. They blamed the prophecy. They blamed the things that happened to them. And then Arik also kind of dives into a little potions and stuff, causes Lila and Ryan to get together.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Which is another thing I really wish we would have saw was when Matt got hit with that potion of truth-telling.
The effects that it had on him.
What was he going to say? Obviously that he loved Arik.
But that would have ended the book so much sooner.
Yeah.
I thought that's what was going to happen.
He was like, oh, run. I just go before you say anything that you don't want to say. And I was like, maybe like trip over something.
Maybe just like stay for a second.
Maybe like just 1 second. But yeah, no, we missed that scene. So that was another thing. I really wish we had a little bit more magic in the world besides just Matt.
I wish Matt used his magic more.
Yeah, he really used it to open a door.
Yeah. Lift wine off of the floor and off of... What's her name? Meredith? As someone who, like, puts so much time and effort working on a character who can use magic, like, he could have done so much more.
So much more.
So much more.
And he even said that the staff isn't the source of his magic, it just helps refine it.
Which I didn't know until he said that. I thought the staff was what gave him his powers.
Again, like something that helps him store it and like channel it more. Like I get the wine thing. They have to explain like why he messed up the prophecy later on.
Yeah.
With him spilling the wine on the prophecy that said that, oh, he's gonna have to stand by and watch him fall in love. And have that little plot twist in there. Which when it happened, I was like, oh, obviously he spilled the wine.
Yeah, obviously.
Even when the octopus thing came out of the water, that scene was a bit confusing to me. But could have seen more magic there. I think there just could have been more magic.
Matt is typical wizard behavior instead of sorcerer. Wizards are nerds. I imagine wizards follow the rules. They're like, oh, I shouldn't use magic right now. Like, no.
Mage hand, bro.
Mage hand.
Let's go.
I'm gonna grab that book from 60 feet away, and I'm not gonna move a single inch.
I need some Eldritch Blast in here, okay?
Honestly.
People that don't play D&D are so confused.
Well,
start playing D&D.
Play D&D.
Yeah, so take a second here to shout out the amazing, wonderful Patreon subscribers.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna shout out these amazing Patreon subscribers. Nick W, Bree P, Patrick C, Shelby K, Jack J, and oh, who is this? Tim M? I wonder.
Some loser.
Ouch. Anyway, then we've got Emily P, Ashley A, Anastasia H, Jeneth P, and Lulu.
All right. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast. It means the absolute world to me. And I enjoy doing this. And I'm glad that, a couple people listening to it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
If you guys want to be part of the Patreon shout out, head over to Patreon and subscribe today.
Do it. Or be square
He's
forever.
going to use command on you.
I can use command. I can use suggestion too. Suggestion's a little more nice. Command is a little harsh. And I can only use one word. Subscribe.
Who in this book would you say is your favorite relationship?
The thing is, with Matt, I was very much projecting Aurelius onto that. And for those of you who do not know, which is probably almost all of you, Aurelius is my character in the current D&D campaign I am in.
Who DMs that one?
I don't know. Someone named Jen? Am I saying that right?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
I have to ask. It was Auric Toby?
Yeah. Except Auric is a little more dumb than Toby is, but that's okay. But anyway, so I'll always be biased to Auric and Matt. However, I love Shauna and Meredith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because I was totally not expecting Meredith to be a permanent character after she was brought in. I felt like Auric just met her on accident because she was picking carrots or something. Very into carrots. She was very distraught when they had to leave the carrots behind.
She was.
But I thought that was going to be it. But then she was always standing in the corner with a pitcher of wine for everyone. Mm-hmm. She offered to teach Shauna how to dance. And I'm like, okay, so I'm here for this.
Yes, that was so cute. I also really liked that relationship because it was very subtle. It wasn't something that they just threw in your face, oh my god, they're in a relationship. It was very subtle, and I was really glad that each of them got a happy ending. I said that my favorite relationship though was Lila and Crow, mostly because I was in a different campaign with a character named Amaranthia, and she had a raven named Ambrosia, and it was the same exact vibe. So I felt very connected to her and Bro because I felt my D&D character through them.
I will also say, bringing it back to the little chaos gremlin, love Lila and Ryan. Kind, quiet, tall, strong guy. Mm-hmm. Little, thin, skinny, chaos gremlin.
Yeah.
I just imagine him holding his arm up at his side and her swinging from it.
It's so funny having them together because they're very much grumpy character with sunshine, but also a paladin and a rogue. You don't expect them to be together.
No, but then when you see it happen, it makes sense.
It's magic.
Oh.
Twist. I have a question for you.
No.
Okay. So, the next thing I want to talk about, the soulmate law being that when he turns 18, he has to have a soulmate to be able to rule this kingdom, or he's going to fade away. If you had to choose a soulmate from one of the characters in this book, who would you choose?
Now, I'm trying not to let my bias towards men get in the way here. Because while they're all good options, they're also not great options.
Yeah.
Just because Matt and Auric are stupid.
Yeah.
And Ryan, I just don't
vibe with him?
No.
No.
I don't get that vibe with him. I can narrow it down to two.
Okay.
So either Lila, because I would love to get into chaotic moments with her, climbing out a freaking window with a dagger in my mouth. That's great.
Uh-huh.
But also, I guess I would say Matt.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Because now that I said that, I'm no. I just projected myself onto Matt.
And two of you is too much.
No, yeah, two of me is... I can't even handle myself. I have my female draft pick.
Okay.
I have Auric for my male draft picked. For my non-binary draft pick.
Oh, okay.
I have... What's their name? Starts with the G. I don't remember.
Grin.
No!
Gren.
Gren.
We're so bad with names.
Lila, Auric, and Gren.
So this is a bracket?
It's definitely a bracket.
There's pros and cons.
Lila is all pros. The only con is she's a female.
Yeah.
Auric is he's a little dumb. But that's okay.
He is the king, though.
Yes, exactly.
So you would be a king.
Exactly. Which is very appealing.
And you'd be rich.
And then Gren is big and strong. Cons to Gren? I didn't get to learn much about Gren.
We don't know a lot about Gren.
I think I'd pick Arik, as dramatic as he is. Like, I'm also very dramatic, so I think that would be hilarious.
They kind of like clash each other out with the dramaticness.
Mm-hmm.
He like generally learns to care for his kingdom.
Definitely. He already said he is a good king.
That's true.
He said it like...
He did say it.
He said it like twice in a row.
Yeah, because the first time he didn't believe it, and then he's like, wait, I am a good king. And so he said it again.
Okay, so I'd like to redirect a question to the host.
Oh, to me? Well, I know this one is my soulmate because I immediately thought of her and was like, oh, yeah, I would want to spend the rest of my life with her. And it's obviously Matilda.
Of course.
Dude, when she came in there after Arik had a meltdown and freaked out, and she's like, come with me, I'll get you something to eat, we'll get you, settled in bed, everything's gonna be okay. I was like,
the mom vibes.
She's the mom vibes. And I was like, I love her so much.
Okay.
No second guessing. The last thing we'll talk about is the wooing plan. Just the whole premise of it. As harsh as it's gonna be, I, again, really enjoyed this book, but the wooing plan seemed like such a waste of time. I get it was the whole premise of this book, but it was literally there to just build tension between, obviously, Matt and Arik, and there was just no development over those 3 months.
Because it was just, okay, I'm gonna woo my friends, and then after attempting each of them, he's like, oh, this is my friend. I'm not gonna woo them.
Yeah, or something always got in the way.
Yeah. Someone found another partner to be with.
Yeah. I think that the appeal would have been better if maybe they weren't that close. It felt a bit, like, sleazy.
It felt a little awkward because
Yeah.
if you asked me, like, okay, you have to woo one of your friends, I'm gonna say, no.
Without, like, consent, I guess. Like, he
Yeah.
never said anything.
I mean, I guess as weird as the plan is, he went about it an okay way, kind of feeling it out and seeing like, okay, do I think they have feelings for me? And if not, I'm gonna back out.
Yeah, like with Ryan. He was like, I didn't feel anything with Ryan, so he quit after one day.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had the journal of the princess who was in love with another woman. Fell a little flat. I wish there was a little bit more with that, too.
Yeah.
But it was just like a lot of time passes where not a lot's happening. I really wish it was maybe there was a few other people.
Like Gren and Petal.
Yeah, there was more outside spectrums that came in. But the fact that Matt was like, first of all, didn't just straight up be like, yeah, I'll do this for you. Like, I get that his feelings were like, but he should have been like, I'm gonna do it. And then at the end, because he didn't tell anybody about this law except for Harlow and Matt.
Yeah.
And at the end, when they find out, Bethany is like, bro, why didn't you just tell us? We would have just done this for you. You're our friend.
Right.
We would have sacrificed. And Lila's like, I'll take all that money, girl.
Yeah. Which also, we're not talking about Bethany enough. I don't think we are.
Okay, go off, King.
I love her too. She's my second favorite character.
Yeah.
And at the very end, I just loved how it said she went out with Petal, went out with Gren, and then went out with both of them at the same time. We love her.
I really liked Bethany because, okay, she's a bard, and she had a harp, I want to say.
Yeah.
And she soothed him when he started to have his meltdown. She's like, I'm playing music until Matilda gets here.
Very much like Cool Aunt vibes.
Yeah, she is. She's really cool. I think she could have been in a little bit more, honestly.
I think she should have.
What did he do to try to woo her? I literally can't remember.
Didn't get to her yet. I don't think.
Didn't get to her?
Because he realized that Big Sister, a weird little brother. That's what I think, because I really can't remember him trying to woo her at all.
Yeah, neither can I. But yeah, the wooing plan was just not well thought out in the sense that there was just so much time that was just wasted. And again, that lack of communication didn't help either. I just wish there was more of an outside spectrum that was kind of being brought in.
Yeah, and we didn't get that until the masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
He danced with literally anyone his age.
Oh, that was kind of fun when they were like, oh, come here, I have somebody, or come here, I have somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Shauna is like, oh, go in that corner over there, I have somebody for you. And it's freaking Matt.
Yeah,
oh,
literally.
I was like, stop! And he was drunk, which we don't consent.
No. Drink responsibly, kids.
Yes.
Don't drink literally everything in a castle. It's not good for you.
It's not. It's definitely not.
No.
But you could kiss the love of your life.
But then not remember it.
And that's just embarrassing.
And then have to read it from a note that's like attached to a prophecy a town over.
And then have to be out in the cold on your way back.
Literally run a 2-day journey in one day in the snow.
Ew.
This is what drinking does to you.
Don't drink. You don't play a game.
Sure, I'd love to play a game.
Okay. So, the game we have today, again, we've been talking about D&D a lot. If you don't play D&D, sorry, this is going to be probably confusing to you, but...
Play D&D.
Play D&D, yeah. So, I'm going to read off a description of a class, and you are going to tell me what that class is. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Okay. An inspiring magician whose power is chosen through music of creation.
Oh, a bard.
A bard. A priest of old faith, wielding the powers of nature and adopting animal form.
It's a druid. We love. We could have used a druid in this book.
Honestly, yeah. I think that would have been too much magic.
Yeah, with the amount of magic that was used already.
A holy warrior bounded by a sacred oath.
Paladin. Holy warrior.
Please wait for me to finish the description.
I will not.
Please wait for me to yell at you. A master of martial arts, harnessing the power of the body in pursuit of physical and spiritual perfection.
That's a monk.
Mm-hmm. A scoundrel who uses stealth and trickery to overcome enemies.
This is a tough one.
I know.
Oh, a rogue?
Just kidding. Your face.
I was like, no.
A wielder of magic that is derived from a bargain with a deity.
So this would be a warlock.
Mm-hmm. A hunter or huntress who hunts monsters that threaten
civilizations.
Yeah, thank you.
Is this like a ranger?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. A master of martial combat, skilled with a variety of weapons and armory.
Fighters.
Mm-hmm. Fierce warrior who can enter a battle rage.
Barbarians.
A priestly champion who wields divine magic and strive for a higher power.
Shout out to my clerics.
Shout out clerics.
Y'all don't get enough respect.
You don't. You are carrying this team on your back, bro. A scholarly magic user capable of manipulating the structure of reality.
See, the word scholarly got me. Because that leads me to believe it's a nerd, and that would mean wizard.
Yeah. A spellcaster who draws on inherited magic from a gift or a bloodline.
The best ones, my sorcerers. That's what I am.
Yay! Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, is that all of them?
That's it. What are some things that you would have done differently or would have changed? Again, this is your own opinion, your own words, if you were writing this book.
As someone who loves magic so much, love fantasy stuff, there was a disturbing lack of magic. Yeah. Even though we have 2 magic users in the main cast. One of the magic users is not appreciated enough. Like I already said, Bethany should have been in more. I think with like the cool aunt / big sister vibes, we could have definitely used her more. Also, I'm gonna say she's a pansexual queen.
Yeah.
We need her to rule this kingdom.
Oh, she's the queen now?
She's more important because she's in charge of relations.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. She's gonna charm the heck out of every other kingdom.
Yeah.
She'll be a queen soon enough.
Good for her.
Good for her. But my last thing, like I said already, I would have loved to see more outside of the kingdom.
World building.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's what prequels are for. Cough, cough.
Totally support the idea as well. I think a prequel is a must at this point. This book deserves a prequel. I think it would have solidified at least the build-up for Matt and Arik's relationship. It would have helped support that, because obviously they're best friends, they grew up in the same village, and we get that backstory, but oh my god, I would love the journey of them getting there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the biggest thing was, I say this in every single podcast, POVs, okay? Point of views are a great way to tell a story without having to pretty much have your characters be like, well, I think this. Let's have a little POV so we can see Matt's side of the story. I think just Matt POV would have been fine.
Yeah, and if the listeners out there also like POVs, you can listen to the last podcast, The Darkness Outside Us. Subtle little placement there.
Ooh, that was the last one we did.
That was the last one we did, wasn't it?
Yeah, because we did Red, White, and Royal Blue the first year on the podcast, and then we did The Darkness Outside of Us, which definitely deserved another POV.
Yeah.
And then this book also deserves a POV. I think it would have been so important to have Matt's point of view so we understood his mindset, especially when he left after the night that he got drunk. I would have loved to see him getting that letter, reading the letter, all that jazz. I think it would have supported a lot of other downfalls in this book that it falls a little short in.
Yeah.
would have explained it a little bit more.
The aftermath of the pollen, whatever it was, I can't remember the name.
The truth pollen
The
thing.
heartstring.
That was
thing.
the one that I said. It's like, oh, if we got that scene and he's just sitting there blabbering to Harlow about him loving
Literally.
Ulrich.
And Harlow just sitting there like, alright,
sir.
these gays.
Freaking gays. Dude, I would have loved it so much.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say is I would have really liked a name for the party, D&D party. I would have loved a little name for them, a little band of gays.
Yeah, that'll
a
be
gaggle of gays.
That'll be the name. Canon. You can't tell me they're not all queer.
Oh, yeah.
We know they all are, except Ryan's iffy.
I think Brian could be asexual.
I also think that Ryan is asexual.
Yeah, I could vibe with that.
Every party needs an asexual.
Absolutely. They do.
So, we've got our bisexual, plural, because Matt also.
Is he?
I think Arik said, like, him and Matt talked about, like,
Oh, okay.
Shauna.
I genuinely don't remember, so
I think.
I'm not sure.
So, we're gonna go with they're both bisexual kings.
Okay.
We've got Shauna, which...
Lesbianism.
Let's be honest here. Along with our pansexual queen.
Mm-hmm. And then Lila.
Well, you gotta have one straight person.
No.
Oh, okay.
We don't need a token straight in this group. She's just vibing.
Yeah.
She is whatever she wants to be, and that's okay.
That's her story to tell.
That's her story to tell. Yeah. We get a little book about her.
Yeah.
It is kind of homophobic of us to do this, but it's time to go. During Pride
Don't
Month.
worry. There'll be another Pride Month podcast.
Until next year.
No. I was talking about Lucy's.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah, we got another one coming at the end.
Wow.
He's kind of a loser, so.
Maybe you forgot about him because he's not subscribed.
You know what? That makes sense. But before we go, we do one last thing. We make up a rating scale here on the book stop, but we make up our own thing. So I would give This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens 4 nat 20s out of 5.
Love it.
I really like this book. I would definitely reread it again. A little like, oh, I'm bored, I want to read something. Throw it on. Very quick audiobook. Like, it's not that long. I think if you live at a normal speed, like a normal person, it's 9 hours. But if you listen to, like, me at 3 times speed, it's only 3 hours. So,
oh, wow. I'm straight up underachieving then. I listened to it at 2.5 times speed.
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I really like this book. The characters were fun. It was a fun little ride to go on. I really would have loved a POV. That's what knocked it down the most for me. A POV from Matt's point of view would have been amazing and a good way to round up those corners.
So I would give this 8 blunt magic swords of legend out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Covered in the blood of the evil one, you know.
Oh my goodness. Stanky.
That's true. It feels like there's no world outside of the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Even though there's like people that come in from the outside, it just doesn't feel like a kingdom. It feels like people wandering outside. We don't know who they are. We don't care.
We don't know this story. That's their story.
That is their story to tell. And there will be more books on that. On every single person.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the book stop.
Of course. Always happy to be here.
I really appreciate it. We don't have anything scheduled for this year, I don't believe. But if you guys want to see Tim back on, interact with this episode, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, if you want to hear more from me, persuade Jen to like kick someone else out online and you can hear me again.
I was thinking maybe Lucy. You can go back again.
I'll just come back again in a week. Give me a second. I can read another book.
Can you? No, she can't.
I read this book pretty much in a day.
We love to see it. All right, well, thank you again and happy Pride.
Bye. Happy Pride, you losers.
Thank you for turning the pages with us today. If you've enjoyed this episode, show your support by leaving a review, sharing the episode, and following the podcast on Instagram at The Bookstop Podcast. Join us on Patreon for early access to episodes and other additional content. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Hope you are too.